It happened to a guy named Daniel a few years ago. He lived alone in a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind where everyone waves but nobody really knows each other. His next-door neighbor was an older man named Mr. Halpern, late 60s, polite, quiet. The type who kept his lawn perfectly trimmed and never played music too loud. They weren't close, but they'd talked a handful of times over the fence. One afternoon, Mr. Halpern knocked on Daniel's door. He explained he'd be leaving town for 2 weeks to visit his sister. Then he said something oddly specific.
If you ever smell anything strange coming from my house, especially the basement, could you check on
it for me? Daniel laughed a little, thinking it was a joke. But Mr. Halpern didn't smile. He handed Daniel a spare key. Just the basement, he said. I had a plumbing issue down there last year. I'd hate for it to happen again. It felt weird, but harmless. About 5 days into the trip, Daniel noticed it. At first he thought it was trash. A sour, rotting smell drifting through the warm evening air. But it was strongest near the fence line, between their houses. And it was coming from Halpern's basement window. Daniel told himself he was overreacting. Still, the smell didn't go away the next day, or the day after that. So he grabbed the spare key. The house felt colder than it should have been. No lights on, no sound, just that smell, thicker inside. He made his way to the basement door in the kitchen. The stairs creaked under his weight. The air grew damp, heavy. At the bottom, the basement looked mostly normal. Concrete floor, shelves with paint cans, a water heater humming quietly. But the smell was strongest near the back wall. There was a door Daniel hadn't noticed before. It was smaller than a normal door, solid wood, no knob, just a sliding bolt lock on the outside. On the outside. He stood there for a long moment staring at it. The bolt wasn't locked. He told himself it was probably storage. Old houses had weird layouts. He even called out, half joking, "Mr. Halpern?" Silence. He slid the bolt back. The smell hit him before the door was fully open. Inside wasn't plumbing equipment. It was a narrow, windowless room. The walls were lined with cheap foam padding, not professionally installed, just glued up unevenly. There were metal rings bolted into the concrete floor, and scratch marks on the inside of the door. Deep ones, layered over each other. There was no body, but there were stains. Daniel backed out immediately and called the police from the kitchen. When officers arrived, they searched the entire house. The basement room had clearly been scrubbed recently. Too recently. They found zip ties in a trash bag, bleach bottles, a roll of duct tape tucked behind the furnace. The most disturbing part came later. Mr. Halpern hadn't actually left town. Traffic cameras caught his car entering a state park less than 40 miles away the day Daniel found the room. And security footage from a gas station placed him back in the neighborhood the night before. He'd returned while Daniel was asleep. Police believe he came back because something had gone wrong in that room. No missing person was ever officially linked to the house. But 3 weeks after the investigation began, Mr. Halpern was found dead in a wooded area near the same state park. Apparent suicide. Daniel moved out within 2 months. What still keeps him up at night isn't just what he saw in that basement. It's the realization that Mr. Halpern didn't ask him to check for plumbing issues. He asked him to check the basement if he smelled something strange. Almost like he knew that eventually someone would.